1440p gaming is not as expensive as some people might say. For around $1,000 you can get a 1440p combination, meaning that you get the monitor and the gaming PC. That way you get the full 1440p experience, and trust me, this PC is going to be good enough to run most titles high settings at 1440p without any issues. I will explain all the components and the monitor throughout this video, so I do recommend you watching until the end, especially if you have a lower budget as well, because I will explain on how to make this PC cheaper without losing much performance. And if you have a ton of money to spend or you're working with a really tight budget, I do have my website where you can find the perfect PC build for you just by clicking on your favorite game and your budget, or I have my other YouTube videos that you can go ahead and watch. With that being said, let's start. First, we are going to start with the monitor. For the monitor, I picked the HP X27Q monitor. This is the 2021 model and it's going for $210. Now, it's worth to mention that it's on a 30% discount, so if you find it at $300, maybe it's not going to be the best option, but for $210 you are getting a great 1440p monitor, and it's also a high refresh rate monitor with a display of 165Hz, and if that's not enough, it also has an IPS panel. I think that for the price this is an excellent choice. Now if you want to spend a bit more, you can get better monitors, and you will have the alternatives in the video description as well with this gaming PC and monitor combination. But honestly, for a budget of $1,000 for everything, I think this is the monitor that you should be looking at. It's kind of on the middle ground. It's not a 4K monitor, it's not a 1080p one, it's a 1440p, and it's not super high refresh rate like a 240Hz one or a 360, but it's also not 60Hz, so I think this is the sweet spot for gaming. For the CPU, I picked the Ryzen 5 5500. This is a 6-core 12-thread processor beast of a budget CPU. Now, it's not as powerful as the Ryzen 5 5600 or 5600X, but it's going to be more than enough not to bottleneck our GPU. If you want to go with Intel, you can go with the i3 12100F for a bit extra. For the motherboard, I picked the GIGABYTE B550M DS3H Micro ATX motherboard, and the reason why I picked this is mainly because of the price and the BIOS flashback. Now, in terms of features, it has enough features for gaming. It's not the flashiest, but for around $110 it's going to give you enough for gaming. For the memory kit, I picked the Silicon Power XPOWER Turbine RGB kit. Now it's only going for $42, which is surprising for an RGB kit, and it's 16 gigs of RAM, 2x8, meaning that it's dual channel of DDR4 at 3200 MHz. You can go with 32 gigs of RAM if you're doing things like content creation, but for gaming, trust me, 16 gigs is all that you're going to need. For the SSD, I picked the TEAMGROUP MP33 1TB of M.2 SSD at $53. I feel like 500 gigs is enough to get you started, especially if you play esports titles, but 1TB I think is the sweet spot for gaming. For the GPU, and the most important component on a gaming PC build, is the Power Color Fighter Radeon RX 6700 XT. This is a really good high FPS 1080p or 1440p GPU. If we compare it with an NVIDIA GPU, it's really similar to the RTX 3060 Ti in terms of performance, but the price is much better, and that's why I picked this one. Like I said, for 1440p you will be able to play without any issues most titles, high settings, at least 60 FPS on average, and for esports titles you will be able to play them at above 165 FPS, which is the goal for the monitor that we picked. For the case, I picked the BITFENIX Nova Mesh SE ATX mid-tower case. This one comes with 4 pre-installed RGB fans, and it also has a front mesh panel, so the airflow and cooling overall for this system is going to be really good, especially for the type of components that we have. If for some reason you don't like the aesthetics of this one, I will leave more alternatives in the video description. And last but definitely not least, we have the power supply. I picked the BITFENIX Formula Gold 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply. This is A tier rated, meaning that it's really good quality and it's also efficient for the price of $70. In terms of wattage, this system will not need more than 550 watts, but I do recommend you picking at least a B tier rated power supply, and the price for those PSUs are really close to $70, so you can't cheap out a lot on the power supply here. You can actually go with a cheaper one that I will talk about in a second after talking about the price. The price for everything we are talking about, monitor and gaming PC, is going to be $1,026 by the time that I'm recording this video. Prices keep changing every single day, so maybe you click one of the links and the price is more expensive or cheaper, so that is not my fault, that is the market every day, so I hope you understand. But anyway, by the time that I'm recording this video, it's a great price for a 1440p experience. Let's say you grab a $500 console and then you have to buy a TV. It's actually going to be really close to $1,000 as well for a console, and a PC is going to give you much more functionality. You can do many things with a gaming PC that you can't with a console. That's why I think that this is the best decision that you can make if you have $1,000 to spend on a monitor and a gaming PC, or a TV and a console. Anyway, if you can't spend those $26 extra from the $1,000 point, then I do recommend you downgrading the power supply to the BITFENIX Formula Bronze 600 watt 80 plus bronze power supply. Now this is C tier rated, meaning that it's not going to be as good quality, so I do not recommend you doing this downgrade, especially if you can't afford those 26 extra bucks. I don't think you're going to have issues with this power supply. I think it's just enough, but if you also want a more upgradable path and put more quality components in the future, then I don't believe you should making this downgrade. However, if you absolutely need it, then go ahead and do it. And then if you even want a cheaper price, I recommend you downgrading the GPU to the RX 6650 XT. Now, if you're the type of person that plays high demanding titles like Cyberpunk 2077, Flight Simulator, or just any title that requires a good GPU, then this downgrade is not recommended for you. But if you play esports titles, games like CSGO, Valorant, or even Fortnite, for this type of games, the RX 6650 XT is all that you're going to need, and the total price for the gaming PC itself and the monitor, if you make these two downgrades, the power supply and the graphics card, it's going to be around $931, which is surprising that you can get a 1440p gaming experience at this price point, considering the market the last 3 years. So once again, to recap, I only recommend you doing these downgrades if you play esports titles, especially the GPU one or the power supply one, if you can't go above $1,000. And if you can't afford it, let's say you cannot spend $931 on the monitor and the gaming PC, then you can downgrade the storage to 500 gigs, which is going to save you around an extra $20 or so. But this is the minimum I would spend on a 1440p gaming system. Anything less than the RX 6650 XT, it's not going to be as powerful. Maybe you can get away with a cheaper GPU for some specific titles, like I mentioned before, CSGO, Minecraft. But if you're planning on playing anything that requires a better GPU than those type of games, which are a lot, then I wouldn't go with anything less than the RX 6650 XT, which is a great GPU for the price. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe, but most importantly, hit that bell button so you get notified when I upload this type of content. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. I will try to reply as fast as possible. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.